Hey, everybody, welcome to the Sports Plug. My name is Xavier Williams with my co host.
Jordan Briggs.
Just want to thank you guys for tuning in today. Unfortunately, we were trying to switch over to another streaming platform. It wasn't working the way that we wanted to, so we are back on StreamYard. Check out
Yes.
in future broadcasts. We definitely might change up the broadcast, so just tune
New
in.
software, guys. We're evolving, getting better.
Yes, sir.
So, we'll keep you posted as usual.
And of course, as always, like and share, please, and
Yes,
make sure
please.
the people that's watching, you can get other people involved to watch as well. So please definitely like and share. And of course,
And
subscribe
so,
to our
yes.
YouTube channel
Yes.
with what is the YouTube channel?
Oh, the sports plug.
Exactly.
Yeah,
Let
of
them know. You
course.
got to let them know,
Yeah.
baby. Let
Yeah.
them
You're
know.
right.
All right. So today we're going to be talking about episode 9 and 10 of The Last Dance. We're not going to go too much in depth because if you watched our previous episode with Mackie McKnight, we already talked about that. And we're not going to spend too much today on The Last Dance. We'll be talking a little bit about that. And also, of course, what Horace Grant talked about when it comes to
Yes.
The
Let's
Last
get into
Dance.
that as well. That's going to be interesting.
And of course, we will also talk about the latest news on the NBA and also sports opening up as a whole
Fingers crossed, guys.
because of this whole coronavirus situation.
Yes.
So we'll go right into it. Like I talked to Mackie about when it comes to this whole situation, Reggie Miller versus Black Jesus. How you felt about this whole situation?
Oh, man. Episode 9, which was basically Reggie Miller versus Mike. That was a really great episode. It kind of showed you, too, going to that sixth title, how the fumes were kind of running out because they almost lost that. Game 7, Eastern Conference Finals. Oh man, that it doesn't get any more close than that. And I feel like that's the closest thing they had to like an actual,
Yes.
road to the finals out of all the 6 titles. So
Mm-hmm.
I really like that. And then obviously episode 10, which was like one of my favorites, just that game 6 in Utah. Man, that's percent chills. Like I'm watching the cinematic version tonight on ESPN at 7. I was
And it's
excited.
funny you bring that up because they do have Game 6 going to be in
Yes.
full HD on
Yes.
ESPN. So you get to see it like you've never seen it before.
It's so crazy how like they had that quality of footage, yet we were watching it kind of more on less quality. Kind of makes you think how many more games they have with
Like
those.
that.
Yeah, they need to just. I'll pay whatever
I
service.
mean, again, if you remember watching basketball in that late '90s, early 2000s, the video footage was pretty grainy.
Yeah, it's almost
So
terrible. Like I watched some of those first three-peat Lakers or like those late '90s, and it's just like I don't remember it looking this bad. I
yeah,
don't. Just,
when you were watching the time, we thought it
right. I
was
was.
so advanced ahead of time when it comes to the definition, but it definitely was not until you start getting HD, 4K, all that good stuff, and you can
Man.
literally see sweat dripping off of somebody's forehead.
Yeah.
That definitely changes the game.
Yeah, I do appreciate the high quality footage though. It makes the players feel a little bit more modern. Sometimes I feel like we age these players and make it seem like it was such a long time ago because the footage is just so bad.
Well, I say this: it's not just the footage;
It's
it's actually the players too. If you look at some of them players back in the '70s and '80s,
true. I just feel
and
like HD.
we're gonna bring up some of these players that were brought up in the Eastern Conference
Yeah.
best starting five on from all the teams in the East. ESPN did a who's the best players for best.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, start five lineup for each team in the East, and we're going to talk about that as well later on. And I can't wait to get into that because they have a mixture of course, old school players and new school players.
Mm-hmm.
And if you see some of them old school players, you're like, you sure you're 24?
Yeah. Yeah.
You
Some
look
of these
like you're
guys,
about 42.
man, mechanics by day, basketball players by night, huh?
Boy,
Goodness gracious.
mechanics, more like never mind. We're gonna leave that up there. But anyways, so again, like we talked about with Reggie Miller and Michael Jordan, that whole Eastern Conference Finals, like Mackie talked about when he was here, he said that was probably one of the things that usually get left out of this whole 6 for 6, 6 championships, 6 MVPs is he actually had to go to a game 7 in Eastern Conference
Yeah.
Finals
Yeah, it's so crazy because there's a stat, obviously, how LeBron James has the highest points per game average
in a
in
game
game
seven.
sevens, which is true. But in win or go home games, which include game sixes, you know what I'm saying? Michael Jordan actually has a higher points per game average. So it actually goes into saying, like, hey, like you said, it wasn't always just the Bulls are the favorite. We expect them to win. Kind of like 96, you know what I'm saying? Maybe that 97. That 98, that was a tough road. And
Now,
Reggie and them were there. It was close.
let's be real, Jordan. Game 7s, yes, are a beast. That's of course win or go home. It's only one
Yeah,
one team's gonna win. I got it.
right.
But let's be real. Having a closeout game is probably harder to finish that series in a closeout game, either a game 5 or a game 6.
Yeah.
is a lot more pressure, of course, on the team trying to close it out because you don't want to give that other team a little bit of light to think to themselves that we have a chance in this series still.
I agree. Like you said, there's definitely a level of professionality you have to continually close out teams who know, this is our last or go home. We gotta give our best effort, and you still dead it game 5, game 6.
Mhm.
It makes it impressive. It's another way to look at it. I actually like that angle.
I mean, again, it's just I see it all the time uh, in my sporting, lifetime where if you don't close out a team, you give them an opportunity to
Hope.
come back and win a series. We saw it with the New York Yankees when they were up 3-0 with the Red Sox. We saw it with the Warriors and the Cavs. We've seen it happen before where
Warriors in OKC.
there I was going to say that as well. You give a team a little bit of light and they feel like they
They start
can
to
compete
believe.
with you
Yeah.
and believe, and all of a sudden they win the series.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, that's a good way to look at it. I think in conclusion though, for those last episodes of 9 and 10, what it comes down to is just, we started out blaming Jerry Cross as
yep,
the reason why, but I think when it comes down to it, man, Jerry Reinsdorf should take the most of the blame, to be honest with you, because I don't know, as it summed up, and he kind of explained as to why he just wasn't going to let it go past 1999 and why they was going to go to a rebuild. It just came off as an owner who, look, winning is great, championships is great, but at the end of the day, I'm all about saving and making money.
yeah. I mean,
And it was
that's
kind
what a
of,
business is about.
yeah, but it was so anticlimactic because it was just a legendary thing, and for it to just end really for just a reason like that, even Michael Jordan looking at the explanation, you could tell it just,
It rubbed them the wrong way.
yeah, it's just like, man, it's just it
I
sucks.
mean, towards the end of that, I think number 10. I'm sorry, episode 10. He talked about if we was able to sign a 1 year deal, he would have found a way to bring everybody back and say, let's
Yeah,
go one
I
more
think it's
time.
more wishful thinking, though. I mean, the way Scott, he barely played. He wanted to get paid, and so did Kerr, and their demand was so high. I think maybe he was that leader to what they would follow. But I think Mike being married to Phil so hard kind of hurt him as well, as far as like his potential of coming back, because Phil didn't want to come back. And I feel like once he decided that he was gone, Jordan was going to play for another coach, and it just ended how it ended. But I feel like it ended at the perfect time, as crazy as it sounds.
I mean, it's gonna be opinions until the cows come home from
Yeah.
everybody, from newscasters to athletes to just fans in general that want to say that, hey, this is what's going to happen. We don't know. Hey, it's that's the beauty of
Hey, it's the beauty of
sports. We get to
sports.
talk about some things that just don't know what's going to happen.
Yeah, and last thing before we get into, 'cause I know we're getting to the Horace Grant and other
Hmm,
things. I
hmm.
hope this does get remembered as a documentary that, maybe for the last time, as it's called Last Dance. Mike brought everybody to their living room couches. I'm saying, during a time where people wanted something to watch, where there was no sports, and we could just remember that part, the positive part of this documentary. These like 10 weeks, these 5 weeks, 10 episodes
Hmm.
of just what it did for the sports community, man.
Especially when you had
It was
nothing else to
special.
watch.
It was special. And I know a lot of documentaries are being planned after this because the success of this was so big. But I feel like we should just remember the positives that came from this, because this was an amazing, my favorite sports documentary of all time.
Not ranking it that high for me, but hey, you're a Jordan guy, so I definitely understand. And of course,
Yeah.
shout out to Brett Montgomery Reese out there watching. He says, "If I buy you a Duncan jersey, would you hang it up behind you?"
Oh, I was on
I
you.
don't know, Brett. We shall see. But we if you know Brett Reese, you should know that he's a frugal guy, and I don't expect him to buy anything. So if he does do that, it's definitely going to be a clearance rack item.
Oh
So
man.
appreciate that, Brett. If you do
Oh
that,
man.
hey, shout out to Brett. Pitching into the sports plug, the decor out here. I do appreciate that. But other than, of course, after that game, I would want to get your take on the flu game. Again, we're going to get into horse, we're going to get into all that, but
Right.
the flu game, like we talked about, game 6 that we'll be playing that
Yeah.
today. What's 8 Eastern, 7 Central on
7 Central.
ESPN. If you
Yes.
want to watch that later on today after this show, they're going to play that whole game back in full HD. And I just want to know, what are your memories of the flu game?
Oh man. No memories, obviously, because I was 3. But I I did have the shoes. But no, the game was flu like symptoms is really the bad pizza game or the stomach virus or food poisoning game. But
aka the food poisoning
yeah,
game.
the food poisoning game. But just once again, it just shows Jordan's tremendous focus. Just with flu-like symptoms, a high fever, obviously feeling sick, obviously a little dehydrated. To pull off, I think he had a 40+ point game that game, I believe.
38.
38. Oh, so close, high 30s.
Mhm.
Yeah, and for him to just have a 38-point game in the finals, man, just be that focused. You saw every time he went to the bench,
He was just
he was
dripping in
drained.
sweat,
Right.
drained, just
Yeah, exactly.
needed assistance.
Yeah, but Mike, he could always pull out that little extra when it was needed, and hey, this is one of my favorite Jordan games. So, but I thought it was funny though, just looking back on it as far as the pizza thing. You have the guy actually. I don't know if you saw the report. The pizza guy actually spoke out,
I saw that. Yes,
and
I saw
he
that.
said that the story is a little bit not on his end. Obviously, I know he wants to protect his brand and his pizzas,
Yeah.
but guys act like they can't cook undercooked pizzas from time to time. It happens, but
I
hey.
don't know about undercooked. Again, yeah, if you know me, you watch this or whatnot. You know that I've used to work in a pizza place, and
Right. Oh, that's
you
true.
can undercook pizza all you want to. It ain't gonna get you that sick. I
Right.
promise you. I promise you. I mean, I'm sorry. I don't say that. Don't undercook pizza all you want. I ain't saying
Maybe
that. But
some
I'm just saying
undercooked anchovies or
you
something.
could be undercooked a tad, and you're not gonna get that sick. They definitely added a little some to that pizza
Oh
pie.
yeah. Oh yeah.
Yeah, so, but anywho, what about the shoes? What about the flu game shoes?
Oh man, I love them. I love when they went into, obviously this was before episode 9 and 10, but the Jordans. But I saw a funny tweet actually, and it was I know you've been seeing that Leonardo DiCaprio meme
I
when he's pointing at the TV.
yes.
And my one of my
The Wolf of Wall Street.
yes,
Yes.
yes, and one of my favorite other than obviously the Leonardo DiCaprio one when they talk about he sees himself. My second favorite one
Okay.
is the one when it's like being a sneakerhead and pointing out which Jordans that you
Yeah,
have on the
That's
Last
on the
Dance,
last day. Yeah,
and
that's
that
what
was me the whole documentary.
Oh, I
So
bet. Oh, I got those. I got those.
basically, yeah, that's how it
I
was. So
understand.
yeah.
I understand. Well, also as well, again, before we get into Horace Grant, because I know everybody wants to get into that game, the bigger story: Jazz scoring 54 points in Game 3, or Dennis Rodman skipping practice to join NWO on WCW.
Ah man, I think the Jazz scoring 54 points, it just goes to show you two things. One, the pace of play in the 90s was
Yeah,
so slow. It was slower than it was in the 80s. It was so slow.
slow.
And it's funny because the Bulls actually had one of the slower pace of plays out of that whole era
Mhm.
actually, and everybody played slower. Than two, just the elite defense of Ron Harper, Scotty, and Mike on that perimeter. But at the same time, like you said, who was really scoring for Utah?
I mean, if you look at from 1 to 10, all the episodes in the documentary, when they show the scores in the fourth quarter, it's 70s.
Yeah, for especially
It's
for the
70
'90s,
points in the
the late
first
'90s
in
games.
the third quarter in the
Yeah,
NBA now.
yeah,
And again, it was like 13 seconds left to go, talking about 74-72 in a game, and I'm just like,
right.
we know, of course, that's how it was. If you was to break 100 in a game, that was like,
Yeah,
man,
it,
okay. Usually the scores were between 90 and 80.
right.
That's
Yeah,
what we grew up watching.
it's actually crazy because just not to get too basketball nerdy here, but like it's so interesting seeing how the pace of play went so high in the '80s and early '90s, and then just slowed down through the early 2000s. I think even like 01, 02, 03,
Yeah, and then it
pace of
picked
play
back
really,
up
and then just picked
like
back up now
2000, and I think
recently.
about two. I mean, before that, I want to say around 2008. That's right after that Celtics Lakers era.
Yeah,
I think right
really.
after that Celtics Lakers era where it was more nitty gritty, and then after that, around the Heat era. I think
Yeah, I
the
think the
Heat big
Golden State
three.
Warriors actually though
I mean, you're
kind of
correct. No, I mean you are correct. But even before that, I feel
it was
like
heading
pace
that
of
way.
play
Yeah,
was picking up more.
yeah, no, that's true. Bet
So
back up.
that's all. That's all on that one. But anywho, let's go straight into like we talked about before. Let's go into
Oh
this Horace
man,
Grant situation again. If you've been checking out the Last Dance, apparently we have some folks that don't feel the same way about
yeah.
Michael and
Horace
and
wants to
and
put the pause
about
on Mike.
and about the way that the story was documented. Even though Horace Grant, he was in the documentary,
Yeah, I know, right?
which is I'm very confused on this whole
Yeah,
situation because he was in the documentary. Now I know, of course, everybody's segment was taped in different times in different places
right.
because, of course, we see Michael will get handed an iPad and he'll
Yeah,
see
right.
somebody saying such and such. So I don't know if they they wanted Horace there purposely, of course, to be able to talk about what was going on, or if they wanted to set him up as the fall guy there like I'm trying to figure
I
out what's
get the
going on.
sense that like you said, since it was filmed all different times when he originally signed up for it, maybe they presented it to him in a different fashion, and then once he saw the finished product and what was said about him, I guess what was edited out, he realized that maybe he didn't sign up for it.
And you might be correct on that because we've seen documentaries before where people say, "Well, yeah, I said that, but you edited it a different way,"
Right.
or "No, I didn't say that," and
Right.
so I definitely understand that sense
But
of
at the same
thinking.
time, he could have declined. I mean, he took. I'm sure they offered him some money. Karl Malone and Byron Russell actually declined.
Really.
Yeah, they were actually one of the two most notable players that declined. I think that came out yesterday. So he could have declined. He
Well,
obviously,
well, Carmelo busy out there driving trucks around, so he
yeah,
probably
yeah, he
he
doesn't
probably
care.
was out there trucking somewhere.
Right. And then Byron Russell was probably like, man, I'm not about to.
You ain't about to put me on here getting shot on twice.
Right. Right.
Patrick Ewing was there. I don't know why Patrick wanted to be there, but
Right. And then also too, I mean, I feel like even though it did play into those parts, I really feel like a lot of those scenes that Horace Grant is upset about was really more to show more about Jordan, what he was going through as far as the criticisms and stuff like that. And it was such a small part of the whole story. I feel like he's making it bigger than what it was.
what I also was going to say as well too is they kind of used him and BJ Armstrong as an example of, you were here in the first repeat, you left
Right.
because of whatever reasons,
Right.
and then also too it wasn't you left and you played on a crappy team. We never saw you again. Both those guys went and played against the Bulls again in the playoffs,
Right.
and both of them was a little chippy. They wanted to
Yeah.
get back at him and
Yeah.
and hoop and holler. And
Yeah.
then when Jordan came back and put the knife in him, or I'm sorry, the nail in the coffin, when it comes to finishing off those series,
Against the Hornets and against the Magic.
So again, I understand the whole wanted to get back at a team that felt like they let you go because of whatever reasons, or you got traded away because of management and you want to get back at them. I understand that with Horace, but I, I don't know, man. It just seems like it's just some unnecessary bad blood there for no reason.
Yeah, it's kind of upsetting, kind of sad. But then you also have to realize as well, this is like 30, 40 years removed. A lot of these guys have moved on. We don't know the private conversations that they've had. So I'm guessing maybe it's something like that. But also, too, I don't mean want to break it up, but, Horace can capitalize off of this as well. So let's not act like, what I'm saying, because he's going to be taking interviews. Fox going to be like, hey, can you give us time? We want to hear your side.
Who knows? He might be here on the Sports Plug sooner or later
Hey,
if you check
Horace,
it out.
come.
So
Hey, tell us,
say,
tell us
Horace,
what you
tell
got
us
to
your
tell us.
side. You let us know. We'll get you in on here.
Right, honestly, but no, man, I think it's funny. I think Horace wants to put his hands on the goat, man.
You might want to. But
What's your opinions on it? On him? What
well,
do you how do you feel? You feel like
okay, so I'll say this. Me and my dad having to talk about this earlier. And,
okay.
I mean, if you've been tuning into the Sports Plug, my dad is a diehard Detroit Pistons fan. So his viewpoint on Michael Jordan is not the same as everybody else. Or of course, if you definitely are a Bulls fan, you love Michael Jordan a lot more compared to other players. So with Pistons, with anybody that loves the Pistons, of course, let's just be real, they're gonna have their bias, and I understand that. Um, and one thing me and my dad talked about, which I completely understand and I agree with him when it comes to what happens in the locker room stays in the locker room.
Yeah.
As an athlete, you played in high school, college, I played, and you know that what happens in the locker room, no matter what sport, stays in the locker room.
Yes.
Now, when you fast forward 20, 30 years later and you're talking about whatever you're talking about for either ratings, for whatever, are you surprised that certain things came out? And what I mean by is a lot of people had a problem with Michael Jordan talking about the cocaine use in the first couple episodes
Right.
with other players that were using cocaine or whatever it was. And what they were saying is, how do you feel if you were a 50-year-old guy that had to explain to their kids or grandkids, like, yeah, I used cocaine, I did this, I did that. I mean, I understand it might have been a messed up thing to do, but like they talked about, they said it was
See,
already known. Like it was,
here's
is that something that was
yeah,
buried
and
and say, I mean, and I'm not trying to diss the Cowboys, but same thing with the '90 Cowboys. They were called the Cocaine Cowboys, for a
yeah,
reason.
I think when it comes to
So
Horace and that, or just Mike in that perception, especially when you talk about the situation with the players, he first got to the locker room. Like you said, content means a lot, and I feel like it was to highlight what kind of situation Michael Jordan was walking into, leaving from Dean Smith in
yeah,
North Carolina,
yeah,
into what he was walking into, what he was able to turn the Chicago Bulls into. once again, he didn't mention any names, and it was such a small part. It was just to set up a scene. And I also feel like people are getting worked up. There's nobody actually in that documentary who was on a 1984 roster. So I don't even understand the big deal because of that. And two, I mean, like you said, I mean, he didn't tell a lie. I mean, he was just telling you what it was when he came in. And he's not the first player I've heard who's said that when they got there, guys were distracted or guys were this and guys were that. But when you have a polarizing player like Mike and such a polarizing documentary like this, like you said, as far as the entertainment standpoint, things like this are gonna happen.
No, I definitely agree. Definitely agree, sir. So to wrap that up, pretty much, I just look at it was for ratings. It wasn't
Yeah.
something that we're not gonna have a charity boxing event between Mike
No.
and Horace Grant anytime soon. They're just gonna patch things up hopefully and keep it moving because they're both of them guys got too much money. They
I
got too
feel
much
like
money and enough time not to do something silly.
Right. I feel like this documentary, for a quick second, also has made us forget how private Michael Jordan really is. I know we got to see a lot of him with this documentary. We're not going to see a lot of Mike again. Kind of like leading up into this, he kind of is a ghost. He kind of lays back and
What's that? That silver wolf.
yeah. So we're not going to get a response
Silver
out of
wolf in the wilderness.
right. We're not going to get a response out of him. He's not going to be on PTI to tell his side. So I think it's just going to fade away because this was kind of like he wanted to push this out, but after that, he could go back to being the Michael Jordan that we
Jump
just
man.
hear about and don't see a lot.
Jump man, jump man.
Yeah, man, the brand.
Yeah. So we'll also get into
Some NBA basketball.
these cities that are supposed to be opening back up again.
Yes.
What word on the street from Bleacher Report, if you have the Bleacher Report app or if you are tuned in to BleacherReport.com, Houston and Orlando are apparently supposed to be the hosting cities for the NBA if they do decide to come back, which is apparently they are hoping for next month.
Yeah.
How do you feel about that?
Yeah. So basically, they're looking at 3 cities right now as far as potential landing spots to
Yes,
finish the season.
and Vegas as well.
Yeah, Vegas, Houston, and Orlando. And as of right now, they're saying Orlando is the front runner, which makes sense. They got the resort. Disney World is a private property, so they can control who comes in, comes out, and stuff like that. But I'm just excited as a Houstonian, what I'm saying, that is even here. Obviously, no fans in the games and stuff like that. But the fact that maybe you could catch Steph Curry on Main Street or something like that in between games is an exciting idea. But more than anything, I'm just excited that the league is back. They're saying mid-July could be a target date, and man, that would just make me so happy. And actually, I feel like ratings would be through the roof naturally in the summertime. Sports is down. Only thing to watch is baseball and regular season baseball. But having the NBA around there, man, I would watch. I would definitely watch. But what do you think?
One, honestly, like you said, I can't wait for sports to come back. We
Man.
need it back. I understand what's going on. We are sympathetic to everything that's going on, and we do understand, and we're not wishing things to get back to normal for people to unfortunately pass away. That's not what we're asking for. But when it comes to just the entertainment value of things, of course, that is what we would love to see, and love to get back to some type of quote unquote normalcy. And
Yes.
and just to be able to have these guys back in action again, I think it is of course great. Now the real question is, will they actually finish out the season? What is their plan to, and I think that's what we have to wait on as well to see, is what is your actual plan when it comes to, are we going to have a month season and then roll right into the playoffs, 2 weeks of the season go right to the playoffs? Because these guys have been off for 2 months now, almost 3 months now, the best way to get into shape is to play basketball. You can't, or I'm sorry, to get into basketball shape, you have to play basketball. You can do all the workouts you want to. You can, do running up and down your house all you want to, but
Right.
the only way that you're going to be able to get better at your craft is going out there and playing basketball.
Right. I'm kind of torn in between. I really do feel like they should kind of almost go right into the playoffs. I know that it would be hard to bring playoff intensity back, which is why more than likely they're just going to finish off the season. I just feel like just by finishing out the season, though, unless they condense the playoff format or something, I feel like it will just drag out a little longer than they want to be honest, especially if they want to pick it up in December.
Yeah.
You start back in mid-July. I guess the playoffs start like late August or mid-August. You almost run into it. So I don't know. It's tricky, but I'm sure they're going to have a plan for it.
Mm-hmm.
Like you said, I'm just excited to see some type of sports. If the NBA is first, then so be it. You know what I'm saying? So I'm just excited for that.
I definitely agree. But again, man, it's not even just basketball, of course. We have football season coming up right after
Yeah. Oh
that.
man.
Again, I saw a report as well when it comes to Texas sports. So if you are watching here in Texas, Texas UIL rules, they said that I think June 1st, they will allow um, workouts to start back up again for high school and college.
Okay,
I'm
that's
sorry, let me apologize.
encouraging.
I'm sorry, high school. And then you have the NCAA just had a report saying that all college workouts should be starting back up again June 1st.
I don't even
So,
think the NCAA can afford not to like a college season not to happen. Some of these universities depend so
well,
much on their football revenue.
from what I've heard, from what I've seen reports wise, there are already some D2 schools that have already canceled their sporting seasons.
Okay,
Yeah.
understandable.
So it's a trickle down effect. The D1 programs are going to be fine. The D2 and the D3 programs need to watch out because some of those
Yeah,
programs, athletics wise, might not be there this year.
yeah, may have to be cut. Unfortunately,
So we gotta wait and see on that one.
I know, I know. But like you said, sports just being back, man. I'm just like you said, really college football, NFL as well. Like you said, we're in a weird time. We've never dealt with this before, so there's
Mhm.
no really perfect way to go about it. I know everybody feels differently about it, but I know one thing's for sure: everybody who's either listening or watching to the Sports Plug wants sports to be back, and we just got to find a way.
Yeah, you ain't lying.
Got
Yeah.
to find a
So
way.
as well too, to finish off what we are here to do and talk about as well is we're going to talk about ESPN's experts of their of their starting fives for the Eastern Conference Final. I'm sorry, man, I'm killing this over here. Their starting five in the Eastern Conference Finals. They, I said it again.
Yeah, they're
My
all
bad.
time starting
There you
fives.
go.
Yeah, yeah.
Thank you. I
Basically,
can't get it out right now.
no, you're good. But basically, ESPN released their all-time starting fives for all Eastern Conference teams
There you go.
so
See,
far.
I'm about
Western
to say, but
Conference.
you about to say Eastern Conference Finals too, huh?
Yeah,
My bad.
yeah. So basically, guys, ESPN released their all-time starting fives for every NBA franchise in the Eastern Conference,
There you go.
and we're just gonna talk about which fives we feel like are the best, which ones really stand out.
And I do apologize right now. I should be able to screen share so you guys can see what we see. But
Yes.
unfortunately, I'm not going to do that right now. So we're just going to go off of what we see on our end. And of course, since we talked about the Chicago Bulls, we will start off with the Chicago Bulls. And of course, their starting five would be Derrick Rose, Michael Jordan, Scottie Pippen, Dennis Rodman, and Artis Gilmore.
I love that starting five. I don't know anything about Artis Gilmore, but Michael Jordan is the GOAT. Scottie Pippen, one of the best defenders of all time, ultimate sidekick. We know about Dennis. Derrick Rose. You give me
the
MVP Derrick Rose?
youngest MVP
This
in
is a
NBA
dynamic.
history.
This is a dynamic
Artists just need to
five.
get out the way.
Yeah, I don't
Artists
know.
don't need to do nothing else but just get out the way. You
Set some
feel me?
picks. Set some really nice picks,
You feel me?
artists.
Get your ass out the way. Let everybody else go do work.
Yeah, yeah. Don't no disrespect to Artis Gilmore, man, but I don't know who you are.
Nah, it's no disrespect, but it's completely like get your ass out the way.
Yeah,
So,
basically.
so D Rose and Michael Jordan can do what they do.
Yeah,
All right, Washington Wizards. We got John Wall,
yeah.
Earl the Pearl Monroe,
Okay.
Gus Johnson,
Yeah.
Elvin Hayes,
Right.
and Wes Unseld.
Okay, so this is a really obscure five. I'm not gonna lie to you. I've never seen Gus, Elvin, or Wes Unseld play or
Mhm.
pick up a basketball.
Well,
Actually, for that matter,
from what
or
I
Earl
know,
Monroe.
from what I definitely know about the Bullets franchise, aka Washington Wizards,
Right.
most of their players were, or as I'm saying, most of their better players were back in the day, as we
They
can see with
couldn't
Earl the
get Gilbert
Pearl.
on there though. I feel like I don't like
Can't
this one. I disagree
Earl
with this five.
until hey, you better go do some. You better go watch some YouTube videos on Earl the Pearl. You putting Gilbert Arenas in front of Earl the Pearl?
Or Gus Johnson, one of the two. He has to get in there.
Gilbert
Hibachi,
Gilbert playing two, not the three.
Hibachi.
Again, I understand that, but when you out here bringing pistols to the locker room, you can only. I'm just
I guess if
saying.
that's the case, yeah, I'll take
You
Gilbert
know
over.
they're gonna put a blemish
I'll
on you.
take Gilbert over Earl the Pearl.
Okay, so
He'll give him
all
buckets.
right, all right. Toronto Raptors,
I like this five.
last year's NBA champions.
I actually like this five. If I could get them all in their primes,
Very nice.
Kyle
Kyle
Lowry.
Lowry, DeMar DeRozan, Vince Carter, Kawhi Leonard, and Chris Bosh.
Yeah,
At
that's
the
a
five.
solid squad.
Philadelphia 76ers, Allen Iverson, Hal Greer, Julius Dr. J. Irving, Charles Round Mound of Rebound Barkley, and Wilt Distilt Chamberlain. That's a squad,
This
man.
is a squad. That's
That's
a
a
squad.
squad.
That Philadelphia 76ers squad that you just listed.
Hey,
It's probably the most solid all around starting five that we went through.
hey, that's a squad, man.
That's the squad, man. You
That's a
got
squad.
Dr. J, AI, like Charles, Wilt.
That's a squad.
Man.
Miami Heat, Tim Hardaway, Dwayne Wade, LeBron James, Alonzo Mourning, Shaquille O'Neal.
I
It's a
like
nice
it.
squad. It's a
I
nice
like it.
squad.
That's the second best.
Milwaukee Bucks. I don't know about second best. I think this might be the best lineup because this is probably gonna be the most slept on lineup that nobody even
Let's
thinks
hear it.
about. Oscar the Big O Robertson, Sidney Moncrief. Which, if you've been watching the Sports Plug a couple of episodes ago, we was told that Sidney Moncrief is
Yes.
two-time defending. I'm sorry, two-time Defensive Player of the Year.
Yes.
Ray Allen, Giannis Antetokounmpo. I can't say it.
Antetokounmpo.
I can't say it, but I try. Antetokounmpo.
It's all good.
Kareem Abdul-Jabbar at the 5.
The Milwaukee Bucks.
If
correct?
you tell him who beating that man,
Hey,
think
a lot
about
of people
that.
regard Kareem as the second
The
greatest
GOAT. No, that's the
player of all
GOAT.
time.
Nah,
Some
that's
people do
Hey.
put him in the GOAT
high school,
conversation as well.
college, and pro.
Oh yeah, yeah,
One
yeah,
high school,
yeah,
college,
yeah.
and pro.
For
Just
the
saying.
for overall basketball. Yeah, maybe.
Just saying. All right. New York Knickerbockers. Walt Frazier.
Most overrated franchise in sports history.
Man, we can definitely talk about that another time.
Oh
But
my
yes,
gosh.
they definitely up there. Earl the Pearl again, Monroe, Carmelo Anthony, Willis Reed, and Patrick. I get dunked on a lot. Ewing.
Patrick Chewing. He had a legendary Snickers commercial years back, and they called him Patrick Chewing. So
That's funny.
yeah, shout out to Patrick Ewing.
Indiana Pacers,
Ugh.
Freddie Lewis, Reggie Miller, Roger Brown, George McGinnis, Mel Daniels. Now, again, if you don't remember, if you don't, names don't ring a bell because those players are definitely some older players that played with the Pacers back in the day. And the most notable name probably of this day is Reggie Miller. But that squad is a pretty decent squad.
Shout out to Danny Granger. He's one of my favorite Indiana
Shout
Pacers
out to
of all
Danny.
time.
Wasn't on the list.
Wasn't on the list, but I love the way you play. You're tough.
He was the original Paul George.
Yeah, man. Big bro, kind of.
Boston Celtics, Bob Cousy, John Havlicek, Paul Pierce, Larry Bird, Bill Russell.
A lot of championships.
Got a really big team.
They got some really big rings. A lot of rings.
That's a lot of rings right there.
A lot of rings.
Atlanta Hawks, Lou Hudson, Cliff Hagan, Dominique, the human highlight reel, Wilkins, Bob Pettit, Al Horford.
Disclaimer: they would put Trey Young in jail for what he would do to that guy Lou Hudson, I believe.
Oh, that's how you feel?
Yeah, I believe so.
All right. Shout out to Detroit basketball.
Shout out.
Detroit Pistons, Isaiah Thomas, Joe Dumars, Grant Hill, and again, if you look at this on ESPN, you see the jersey that Grant Hill is wearing. That is probably my favorite throwback jersey
I had that
ever,
one.
and I have it as well.
Yeah.
You already know, family wise,
Yeah.
they got us all hooked up with those jerseys.
Yeah.
Big Ben Wallace, Bob Lanier, Charlotte Hornets, Kemba Walker, Dale Curry, Glenn Rice, Larry Johnson, Alonzo Mourning.
Charlotte Hornets probably have like some of the best
Some of the
uniforms
best
that just
uniforms,
never
yeah.
had a great team though.
Yeah.
They're so underutilized.
The only reason why them Hornets jerseys right now popping because of J. Cole.
Mike, man.
Well, my bad. In the baby.
Yeah, in the baby.
baby.
Mike, you gotta do something, man. You gotta get a franchise player in there. It's looking bad over there in Charlotte.
He got the last dance right now, so he good for another 3 more years of bad drafting.
Yeah.
Cleveland Cavaliers, Mark Price, Kyrie Irving, LeBron James again, Larry Nance, and Brad Daugherty.
This kind of reflects LeBron's entire career.
I'll be completely honest. That's probably like the best lineup for LeBron for him to go do what he needs to do and let everybody let LeBron do him.
Yeah,
except for Kyrie.
His play style was kind of set for that. Yeah, except for
Yeah.
Kyrie. But if he had to be there, it would work out.
Yeah,
Unfortunately,
we've seen it before.
Right.
So. The Brooklyn / New Jersey / New York.
Yeah, they're about
New
everywhere.
York Nets. They've
Yeah.
had 3 different names or whatnot in the same little metroplex. Jason Kidd, Vince Carter, Julius Dr. J. Irving, Buck Williams, and Brooke Lopez.
Only thing I'm interested in is if KD can crack that 5 before he retires. Presumed if he finishes his career.
Hey, that's a good. Hey, that's a good tidbit right there, man.
I'm interested.
We have to figure that one out.
I'm interested.
I am interested as well. Orlando Magic, Penny Hardaway,
I like this lineup a lot.
Nick Anderson, Tracy McGrady, Dwight Howard, and Shaquille O'Neal.
If I can get all these guys at their peak, right, like where they're at in that picture, they're winning a lot of games. I'm not gonna lie to you. You have Shaq, who brought his team to the finals. Dwight Howard, who brought his team to the finals. Penny, who before injuries, you know what I'm saying, was next. And then T Mac. T Mac and Penny are almost the same as far as, you know, what ifs, as far as injuries derailing their careers. Shaq and Dwight. I actually like that roster. I love the Magic's jerseys. That's my favorite. That's my favorite, guys. The Orlando Magic.
Hey, Jordan going with Orlando. I'm gonna go with Milwaukee just due to man that lineup there, man. Giannis don't have to win a thing there. Just
that's a lot of hype.
Just being there is just gonna cause problems or whatnot. So
yeah,
excuse me. So I'm gonna go with that Milwaukee Bucks team in the East.
Definitely don't blame me, especially when you consider you have the Big O on there too. You can't underrate him.
That's triple double, baby.
Yeah, Mr. Triple Dub,
the original
Mr. Triple Dub. Yeah. Real quick, real fast though. I do want to talk to you about
finish it out. What's up?
Before you finish this out, obviously, I'm sure you saw it. We didn't speak about it, so I'm asking you right now. But LeBron, his uninterrupted episode where he spoke not also about his feelings, but the Last Dance, but how he actually had played a pickup game with Mike at the age of 16 and was able to meet him. Did you watch that?
I didn't watch that, but I did. I saw an article.
It was
about
really
that.
Cool though, man.
I saw an article about that. If you want to just go ahead and elaborate on it?
Yeah, just real quick. It was just an interesting tidbit of how LeBron James was able to work out with Michael Jordan when he was 16 years old. Mike was getting ready to prepare for his final and last, and regrettably, final and last comeback with the Wizards. LeBron, being one of the bigger high school players at the time, was working out with a couple of NBA guys, and he was able to meet Mike almost by accident, and he introduced himself. They ran a couple of games, and LeBron was just talking about how when he first met him, he didn't think he was real, and how he was like a black Jesus to him. So I felt like it was just cool just seeing, we tend to, especially during this documentary, pit LeBron and Mike together all the time. As fans, we love to do that, but it was just interesting just to see LeBron, talk about his hero in that sense, especially when we're coming to a point where more than ever, I believe people either believe Mike or LeBron is coming close, even if he never does eclipse Jordan. The fact that we're having this conversation, but the fact that, outside of the whole fandom, the respect is there. It was just really cool to watch, and you should check it out. Anybody listening, check out that story. It's on his page.
I would definitely check that out. And to be completely honest with you, I think that usually happens a lot more than people think, because of course the media, which we are, I guess, considered are now, we have to draw ratings and storylines of certain things to make papers and views sell, right? So if you're able to make stars clash against each other, of course that's good for the media, that's good for that. But behind the scenes, they could be, and we saw it just to bring back full circle with The Last Dance, we saw it when they played against the Jazz. After they would win or lose a game, after the game was over, they would meet up. John Stockton and Karl Malone would meet up with MJ, shake hands, and then both go off and go do what they do. And then, of course, when they lost, Karl Malone came into the bus, shook everybody's hand, and moved on. But me watching that, I thought it was really cool just to see the respect that was there, of course, from the beginning. Even though that everybody might not like each other, of course, and we got bloodshed on the court. But when the game is over with and the curtains are down, they show respect for each other. And I think that's great for not just basketball. It's great for the game, all games, football, basketball, baseball, because every athlete is watching this, not just basketball players.
Oh yeah, you could find inspiration in this, even if you don't play sports. I feel like just the like you said, well, at least with Michael Jordan, his mentality and stuff like that. But like you said, just to close out, like you said, more than ever, the NBA is a star-driven sport. So that GOAT conversation, that next guy, that's something that people, companies, even us will forever be able to debate about, make money on, and stuff like that. So like you said, we tend to pit up against each other. But like you said, it's more often than not, Mike and Jordan probably like, yeah. And you said, he got his own thing, I got my own thing. You know what I'm saying? And that's what it is. But that's not gonna stop us guys from debating this on the Sports Plug.
It will not. It will not. Definitely will not. It's definitely not gonna stop us talking, especially here on the Sports Plug. And that'll wrap it up for today's episode.
Yes, guys.
I appreciate everybody for tuning in. Make sure you guys definitely subscribe to our YouTube channel and also click on the little bell. So anytime we have a YouTube video,
Yes.
you'll get reminded of
Turn
that.
on those post
Yes, sir. Yes,
notifications.
sir. Well, we'll here your boy X Williams, also my co-host,
Jay Briggs.
will be here next time. I appreciate you guys tuning in. See y'all next time at the Sports Plug.
Peace.